Boom. We are live Thursday evening. What is up, everybody? Happy June. Hope all is blessed. All right, so we're going to get right into it, guys. We're going to eat that there. Okay, 68. What's good, y'all? This is C-Certified Brewhead. Welcome to episode 68 of Beer and Other Shit, the podcast, Adjunct series, quarantine edition. This evening, we have a very special podcast from a region that we talk about here often, and we haven't even spoken to anybody from there in the last 15 or so months. So I'm super amped for this because it's the closest I've been to one of the greatest places on the planet. So before I get into that, you know the vibes. We're going to be talking about our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff. For everybody who has a beard, this stuff is for you, mate. So look, I've talked about this. We've been working with these guys for the last 2 months, since April. I received these products in January. I've been using them every day. You can see that they're kind of like, mostly empty. I genuinely love them. That's why we decided to collaborate with them for a few months, April through June here. Now, these guys are based out of Massachusetts. Everything about them is craft beer to me. They are everything is made in the States, from the bottles, the liquid inside, everything is completely made in the States. They have a series of these products. This particular one I'll be talking about tonight are a beard oils. They do oils, balms, and face sanitizer, which is kind of crazy because it smells like citrus, and you just spray your face and you're good to go. Now, they're doing a Brewmaster series where they're collaborating with major breweries in New England, like Trillium, Treehouse, Lawson's, Vitamin C, and they're actually creating beard oils based on some of their biggest beers in collaboration with the breweries, which is insane to me. This particular one is their signature series, so they just have different scents. So this one here is zero. This one is just unscented. It's just straight essential oils, and it's essential oils and not fragrance oils. The fragrance oils get you shit all like itchy and it messes with the skin. These bad boys are this is the unscented one, and that's number 0, and this is the number 9. Number 9 has lavender, orange blossom, and sandalwood, just like a super earthy but a little bit sweet from the orange scent. I really love it. It's made my beard a ton softer. I feel like it's a little straggly now. I've been seeing the barber next week. I'm a mess, but these things have really kept my shit together. I really enjoy them. Their quality, the essential oils as well that they make them with, you can tell it's mad quality, because they were saying to me that the specific essential oils are like a couple $100 for like an ounce, because if they make, say, vanilla, the actual vanilla beans in the oils. It's kind of wild. Like, they make the stuff like super, super real. None of it's like fake natural flavoring and stuff. So now there's going to be a link in the description here. It's Dr. Nick's, DoctorNicks.com. If you use the code BAOS21, you get 15% off your order. And if your order is over $40, it's free shipping in North America. These are really reasonably priced. It's like a $21, $22, $23, something like that. And you can buy 2 of these bad boys, mate, free shipping, you get 15% off, everybody wins, your face is smooth, you smell good, what more do you need? So, with that said, this evening, we spoke with these guys back in, I think it was when we did, I don't know when it was released, but it was about February 2019. Vermont is a really special place to us. Deadass is my favorite place on the planet. I can't even, it's not even exaggerating. It's just such an important place. It's only 2 hours direct from here to Burlington, 45 minutes to the border, which isn't too far across where these guys are. So, we haven't had any, haven't been there. We usually go to Vermont every other month type of thing, and we haven't been back since March last year, since right before everything shut down. So to talk to some folks in Vermont who are making phenomenal beer and, been living in that scene, I'm super excited for this. I'm going to just bring these guys right on. So, guys, please welcome Lavonne and Terry from Mill River. There we go. Good to see you guys, man. Welcome. Thank you for hanging out. Yeah, man, doing great. You boys good? Everything okay down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, here for it. So you guys are in St. Albans, VT, so it's like probably there's like Swanton just before the border, and St. Albans is like the next town down. So you guys are super close, like 10 minutes from the Canadian border, which is super convenient. So we got a lot to get into. Like I was saying, we haven't actually spoken to anybody from Vermont in the last 15, 16 months on the pod. So, mate, I'm super keen. Of course, we're thirsty. We're going to get straight into the breweries. We're going to kick off with this one. Hello, my name is Beer. Love it. Doesn't get any more straightforward than that. Nice crushable lager. This was not around last time I was there, so I'd love to tell us about this one, guys. Is there anything we need to know about this particular beer? What's going on with it? Ooh, it smells great.
Levon, I'll let you start.
I mean, it is what it is. It's my name. It's beer. It's our offshoot of our nice, crisp, clean lager.
I love it. How long has this one been around?
Probably a little over a year.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I don't recall a bunch of lagered options the last time, which would have been 2019. Like if you brought it in about then, was that because of the pandemic? Did you have like an opportunity to actually maybe get into some lagers, whereas before you might not have been able to?
Yeah, I think tank space was more readily available just from what we were going through.
Totally.
We're a smaller brewery, so tank space isn't always available when we want it. So
of course.
When production slowed down and everything slowed down, we got to mess around with a few things that were kind of on the back burner for a while.
Finally get to test it out a bit. That's awesome. Was this the first crispy boy that you guys have done?
No, we had done a Mexican style lager before that, and this is kind of an adaptation of that.
What was that called?
Molino Cerveza.
I had that. I think I had that last time. Yes, okay. Just
Yeah,
wasn't the season
probably.
because it was February. So, okay. Amazing. First of all, cheers, boys. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, this is great. Exactly what it says it is. Nice, crispy, malty, bready, a little bit cereal. What's the hop profile on this bad boy?
Very minimal.
Yeah. Is it SARS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We use Saws, and Cascade.
SARS and Cascade. Okay. Yeah, I get a bit of the Cascade in there, actually. I feel like it kind of shines a little bit. Yeah, that's dope. Is this, how was the response to this type of beer? And also, was this like something that you guys had wanted to do more of, given the tank space restrictions?
This one lately, it's been our number one seller in our area, right? We're coming up to summertime. We're coming up to summertime. You want to be on a lawnmower with this beer, right?
Yes.
It's definitely changed a little bit with COVID, with tank space, because dine-in seating, we're not maybe going through as much beer. So I would say we made it the St. Albans market is well aware of Hello, and when a fresh batch, or when we do some keg infusions that we can talk about a little bit for this Hello at the restaurant, they sell out pretty well.
Okay. Is that like what's that thing called again when you do the infuser? Rando. Is it like a rando?
It's not a rando.
Yeah.
We don't have the. It's like, I mean,
similar.
Similar to it. We don't have the rando machine.
Yeah.
But
the same outcome.
we may do a single keg infusion. So I may put some added ingredients or something like fruit into a brink.
Right.
Let the beer age, a couple days, or depending on what it is. Keg it, carb it off, and put it on tap.
I like that. That's dope. That's like an interesting flip on that. Do you think that this is going to be something that you guys are going to keep doing? Like, do you think? I guess maybe now that things are opening up, I imagine that perhaps the approach might change. Is this something that people can expect more of? Do you think as you sort of, as time passes?
So, Hello's staying around. Hello's not going anywhere. Hopefully in the next couple weeks, we're going to be releasing a one-off for right now for the summer. Hello aged on jalapenos and limes.
Okay.
So we're going to be canning that, I believe, on Tuesday.
Okay.
So
that's awesome.
When I came on board a few months ago, I kind of brought some of the like keg infusion ideas. I like brewing with peppers, like hopping with like dry pepper. Hopping with
Dry
peppers.
peppering.
Dry peppering, right? Is that what it is? Yeah, dry
Sure.
peppering. So we've done jalapeno, we've done habanero, we've done Thai chili. Currently in my garden outside, I've got ghost peppers growing to do that, come late August, early September. So you got to have fun. That's the way to look at it.
Big facts.
Yep.
I love it. No, that's awesome.
Yep.
You know what? Let's get into your both of your respective beer histories. So people might remember. I don't remember what episode it would have been. Probably in the like the hundred and something, where we had the whole Mill River crew on. There was like yourself, Levon, your brother, your cousin, who I think were kind of running the show for the most part, and then all of your uncles and all of that type of stuff were there. It got a little raucous. It was super fun. It was probably the most people we'd ever had on a podcast. It was a great experience. We're going to keep it a little tighter. And it was fun because they were delivering food during it and stuff. And there was a whole bunch of respect. It was cool to see the family aspect of the brewery and really to see that everyone cared enough that they were like, no, we want to be here for this and we want to all say our piece. And I thought that was like super cool, as difficult as it was to keep things in line as the day progressed or as the episode progressed. It was a really good experience though, because the food was phenomenal. Bringing out chicken wings, so I think some people needed to eat a few more chicken wings than others. But maybe let's get into both of your. So it's definitely worth checking that one out for maybe a more in-depth history. We are going to get into that today, probably a little bit different. So you boys want to maybe break down each of your individual beer histories, and then we can just sort of talk through the history of the brewery itself. Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first.
Go for it.
Why not?
Why not?
Perfect. So I've been brewing commercially now for 3-ish years, a little over 3 years.
Nice.
I started at Prohibition Pig in Waterbury.
Ooh.
And I was there with Nate, for a solid few years, and then COVID struck. And unfortunately, I was furloughed, like a lot of us were. David and the team at Mill River, the family at Mill River, found out I was becoming available for a little bit. And we had some conversations, and I moved, transferred kind of up to St. Albans, and I've been there. So other than that, for my beer history, it's just been Pro Pig and then home brewing. That's about all for me.
Right, so you didn't study or anything like that? It was just home brewing and then applied for a job?
Yep, home brewing and then thrown into an ocean, sink or swim.
Is that...
Yeah, luckily enough, luckily enough, Nate, Pro Pig, fantastic brewer too, and he taught me everything that I know that I've brought up here, so it's been good. Yeah,
it's a great, that's like a legendary place out there in Vermont, so that's like a really cool history to have and experience to have on my resume. I think it's pretty dope that you went straight from home brewing to Prohibition Pig of all places. That's pretty wild. Is that is that normal? Like for like home brewing to go straight to that? I mean, like everywhere in Vermont is killer, so like if you're in Vermont,
probably not. Like I was in like a unique situation. I was working for Tesla at the time before Prohibition Pig, and when Elon did Order 66 and fired us all, I needed a job, and a mutual friend hooked Nate and I up, and we chatted about everything, and it just worked out. I would say though, most of the time, some experiences that might come in for hey, you'll come and help can for a couple days a week, or bartend and learn, maybe the front end of the experience or the packaging end before you get thrown right into the brewing or cellar work per se.
That would make sense. I guess it's, relationship to everything in life, period. So, yes. I mean, if you guys got along and, the culture fit, the actual job can pretty much be taught for the most part to anybody within reason. I know there's a lot of science and stuff that you need to know for that, which probably helps if you have that background. But all right, that's dope, man. And it's only been a few months, you said, right? Like this year.
I've been at Mill River now for I would say actually 6 months now. It's been a little
6
bit
months.
longer than I thought when I looked. 6 months, yeah.
Okay, dope.
Yeah, I was.
So
Yeah,
go.
no, I was just gonna say we were both furloughed for a while and just worked out. That's all.
I love it. That's great.
So yeah.
I don't know if this is a question for after as we sort of progress, but what do you think? And this probably for both of you, then we'll get to your history, Levon, as well. But what from being that you're both, is you two the only brewers at Mill River, or the prime, like the main guys running the show, writing recipes and all that?
Yep. Yeah, the two of us. Yep.
Okay, perfect. What has changed? Or what did you bring to the table that changed what Mill River do? Or the way that maybe you guys approach beer, being that it's like, I'm sure obviously there's a team of people who would be putting in their thoughts and all that type of stuff, but if you guys are driving the bus, I imagine, there'll be some changes perhaps, or whatever, tweaks, whatever it might be, like what from both of your sides, like what has that introduction from, from your new energy and new perspective brought to the brewery?
Yeah, I'll start, Levon, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I've definitely brought over some process changes. When somebody brews like Levon, he was brewing by himself for a long time. He sees it potentially one way, and it's nice when you can get a second person who has experience. It's like, hey, have you ever thought about it this way? So I've brought over some brewing process changes. Overall, let's see what just beer wise,
creativity.
Trying to expanding the profile a little bit. We've definitely, since I've joined, Mill River has expanded the profile a lot, and the creativity with just the single keg infusions, just having fun. Got to have fun at work. We're brewing beer. Like, how many people like wish that they were like us in a way? Like, hey, you get to brew beer for a living.
It's pretty dope.
What kind of it's like, what kind of ideas do you have? So
right.
I've had ideas over the years, epic fails, right? But then I've had some home runs, knock it out of the park. So I would say that definitely that's what I've brought to the table is helped Mill River evolve their beer profile.
I like that. And from your perspective, Levon, being that you were running the show before that, how has that changed for you and changed the process and the way that you sort of approach everything?
I mean, everything's been great. Being able to bounce things off from each other instead of just doing it all on my own has helped out a lot. And as far as, like Terry said, processes, just I'm from a different background. He was from a different background. So putting the two of them together, I think we've found a good solution on what works the best for both of us and for the brewery itself and the equipment that we have.
That's dope. I love that. Tell us about your beer history from your side, man.
I'm kind of similar to Terry. I went from home brewing to kind of thrown straight in family-run business, and I started out doing a little cellaring and helping on the side when I could, and then we lost our brewer, and I was full swing brewing on my own.
How long into it did that happen? Like how long?
Like probably 6 months of me being part-time in there, and I was full-time doing it all.
How was that?
It was good. It was scary at first, a little nerve-wracking, but once you get your bearings, it's good. It's a lot of fun. It's a challenge, which is nice because every day is something new, and every brew is something different. So it's never the same thing, which is cool.
I love that. Did you study or homebrew like Terry? Or how was your beer situation?
No, I did some home brewing. I studied science in college. I had a lot of chemistry and biology background from being in exercise science. But other than that, no, just some home brewing with either by myself or with some family members. But other than that, I had no commercial brewing experience and until I got thrown into it.
I love it. Just both of you sounds like it just right in the ocean, getting it done. Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
So pivoting then to the history of the brewery, tell us about how the brewery came about, when it opened, what the intention was, being that you guys are actually positioned as it's a Smokehouse, it's barbecue and Smokehouse brewery, yeah. So tell us, because it sounds like all of that's a part of the story. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah. So when we first started out, it was mostly my father and my uncle. They were doing some home brewing, and on Mondays when my uncle had the day off, my dad would bring down his smoker and they would do some smoked meats, whether it was ribs, brisket, wings, pulled pork, didn't matter. They would just get together, and it turned into just my father and my uncle and a group of people taking Mondays off and just getting together to brew beer and have smoked meats. So one day they decided that they were going to turn it into a business venture. And in 2017, we opened the restaurant, and later in, I think it was July of 2017, we opened the restaurant, and in the fall of 2017, we opened the brewery. Finally got all our stuff and opened the brewery.
Okay, so it's been coming up on 4 years now.
Yeah.
Since everything. Okay.
Yep.
How, like, over the, being that you guys are in arguably, like, I think it's the best state for craft beer in the States. I don't know, I feel biased. I imagine you guys are biased too. Are you guys both from Vermont?
I am
not.
You're not? Where are you from, Terry?
I'm from New York.
Okay, represent.
Oswego, New York, a little small town in central New York.
Okay. Do you both think that Vermont has the best beer in the US, or are you not as biased?
It's up there
I think
for
it's
sure.
up there.
Interesting.
I can go anywhere in the world and find a beer I like.
That's true.
It's really tough to it's subjective, but
super.
That's how I feel. But it's like anywhere I go, it's like, oh, yes, I will try you kind of thing.
Right. I feel okay. Well, I'd be curious then. Maybe it's because we're from Canada, and it's sort of like, when we come down there, even though we go there regularly, it's still like, oh, we're in Vermont. Like, it's always like a big deal. There's just like an energy there. It's just everything. The people are the nicest. The food is amazing. Everything's local. The beef is from that farm down the road, and like all the beer is like, I dare you to find a shit beer in Vermont. Like, it's amazing to us. You are correct. Everywhere I travel is this fire beer. But what would you guys, if you had to say the top 5 beer regions in the States? I know this is like this. I'm just curious now from some folks in Vermont. What would you say that are the top 5? Say it could be worldwide, or it could be in the States, whatever.
Let's
go
see.
first?
Of course, I'm gonna go first, right? Well, we'll put Vermont in the top 5, right? I'm gonna put Denver, Denver, Fort Collins area, Colorado.
Very cool.
Seattle, Washington. Portland, Maine. And the last one, I'm gonna say Chicago, Illinois.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's a good list. Levon, what's yours?
I was thinking, Vermont would definitely be in the top 5. My fiance's family, or my fiance has some family out in Arizona, and I like a few breweries out in Arizona. So I would say Arizona would be up there. Oregon, out in Portland, Oregon,
Yep.
There's a couple good breweries out there that I've been to. Park City, Utah. We have friends in Salt Lake, so I love going out there and going to a couple breweries there. And I would say maybe another one would be Florida, down like Sarasota, down around there.
Interesting.
Oh, there's a couple there.
Okay, that's a different list. I like that. Do you guys think that maybe the Vermont, like what I noticed from my friends from Vermont, is they will send me, like, I got a few people from going, regularly. I end up becoming really good friends with some folks. My good friend Rob, he's in where's Fiddlehead? What's it called? Shelburne. He's in Shelburne.
Yeah,
So
Shelburne.
he's always sending me photos of what he's drinking, and he has access to everything. And I know you guys have the people passing through from Massachusetts and all this and New York, so you're just getting fire and fire. Everyone's trading, blah blah blah. So you have this just insane amount of stuff. And then he's sending me pictures of drinking Natty Light and fucking Truly, and like just mixed drinks or whatever. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just like over it, like whatever. And I feel like it might be some sort of level of just overexposure to so much phenomenal beer that you just kind of like, that again. Like, is that a part of it at all? I know this is. Oh, Terry's gone.
Lost him.
He'll be back. There he is. We got you back.
Sorry about that.
You're right, man. Shit happens. It's been a technologically problematic evening. Yeah. Do you think is that for you guys at all? Do you ever get just like, oh, there's no shortage of such world class beer that you kind of like not take it for granted, but I guess maybe it is that. I don't know.
Maybe a little. I don't know.
Yeah.
I definitely do.
Yeah.
At times, it's like it's kind of nice. I have friends all the time. When I go home, I have friends that say, "Hey, can you bring me this, and this?" And I'm like,
just like, why?
Why? But then again, I'm like, oh wait, you're in central New York. They can't get any of this. So I'm like, okay, I guess it kind of makes sense. But yeah.
I guess it's all access and proximity, really.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I know here that go down like before times, you could go down like every weekend because they would have every release from all Burlington Beer Co. Foam and all that stuff, and then come back and like,
oh,
I couldn't even imagine what they're spending, because then you've got the dollar that's like we lose when we go down there too, and they're doing that rather than being locally. They're just going to, because we couldn't find what you guys. I guess really that's what it comes down to, is that we couldn't find locally what you guys do on a world-class level for the longest time. We've caught up for the most part now, but I think that was a real sort of attractor. But there's something else about Vermont. I was going to say there's something in the water, but literally that water table that you have is unique and exceptional, and the mountains and that real focus on everything local, hyper-local, and it just results in this exceptional kind of craft beer scene that you guys are a part of. This is kind of was just curious of your thoughts on the overall scene out there. Beer and a Bozo was saying, he commented, said, "You're Florida for sure." He's concurring with you with the Florida call. There's definitely, I haven't been down there for years, but definitely some fire. So anyway, I digress. Back to it. So I was just going to say, like, how has things sort of changed for you guys as far as like from when you opened to kind of where you are now, and even the last couple of years since we had you on, like how have things changed as far as maybe not only just the approach to beer, because you kind of touched on that, but sort of what you're making and what people are asking for. Like, do people still want all that crazy haze that was like,
Yeah, I think there's still a little bit of a drive for the IPA market. I mean, we still sell a lot of IPAs, whether it's a session, a single, double, triple, it doesn't matter. I think lagers are making a comeback.
Yeah,
and I'm happy about it, because don't get me wrong, I love IPAs, but when that's all you're making, it's not as fun.
No, I can imagine getting a bit boring. Go on, Terry. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, piggyback off of something that Levon said. Yeah, like people love IPAs, but lately, I feel like I've been been talking to people, and they want more like West Coast IPAs. They might be getting kind of bored out a little bit with the New England IPAs. So, I kind of we made a West Coast IPA. We released it a couple weeks ago.
I think we're cracking that tonight.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna crack that tonight. Yeah, but it's definitely when you hear sometimes you don't change your profile or your beer, off of one person, but over a course of 3 months, if you keep hearing the same kind of comment, that's when you kind of make your move. And New England IPAs are going nowhere, right? But if you can make a nice West Coast IPA to help even out your New Englands, definitely a right move there.
Yeah, good call. It's interesting. I guess I'm asking because I'm curious to see like where the palette is going, because obviously you guys tend to lead the craft beer scene globally as far as the trends. Typically, anyway, I can't think of any trend that started elsewhere, but you guys tend to start it and then it kind of like spreads on to everywhere else. So that's interesting because we're starting to see that here at the West Coast, the rise of the lager, which I thought you guys kind of already had a decent amount of lager action out there, or does that feel like a more recent thing?
No, there's I would say you have Von Trapp, right? All they do is lagers, so they've been on it forever. But I've been in Vermont now for 6 years, and I've definitely have seen more over the last couple years.
Okay.
Than I did when I first moved up here.
Okay, so it's starting to become more of a thing. Okay, I like to hear that.
Yep.
I feel like it was a little slower here in Quebec, but it's definitely like landed within the last 12, 18 months. So I agree. I always thought you guys always had lagers everywhere. And, I feel like maybe it was Von Trapp or just in general though. I feel like it was a little more. Say like the hype kind of breweries always had the lagers out there. You guys, I feel like that kind of drove the market a bit. So that is interesting. The West Coast IPA is fascinating. That's pretty cool. I mean, that must make things a little more interesting for you guys, even though, yes, it's another IPA, but it's a completely different profile you're trying to achieve and stuff like that. Not that I imagine you would have done them before, but now if there's more of a demand, that means there's like a bit more of an excuse for you to play with West Coast and what that could look like.
And I think between... Sorry.
No, you can go.
I think between us, that's one thing that we've found is that he likes different styles than I do, and vice versa. And it's helping us to push our boundaries on making those beer styles. Whereas before, it was tough for me to make something that I didn't like. But now I'm open to doing whatever, and hopefully, I think both ways we'll both be open to making whatever style is wanted, whatever style is needed.
I love that. What were you going to add to that, Terry, before?
Nope. I was going to basically say the same thing. Like, to be honest, it's like there are styles that I love and there's styles that it just doesn't do it for me. And it seems like it's opposite. Levon and I are opposite with our styles. So we push our boundaries with each other.
Right.
Brewing wise, you're only going to get better as a brewer the more times you're tested, right? If you make a New England IPA after New England IPA after New England IPA, you're making good beer, but you're not like learning as a brewer, right? Lagers can be tough to make, stouts, bourbon barrel beers, sours, kettle sours, you can go down a different train. So it's really nice when we can throw ideas off of each other.
Definitely.
Continue.
I like that a lot there. So on that, you were both saying you have different palates. Like, what do you guys? Where are those differences lie? Like, what styles are you both liking and not liking, and how does that kind of work between you?
I'm a sour drinker a lot. Okay. Like, and
I
so
like
my
sours.
palate. Yeah, that's sours. I do like a little bit more of a malty, the West Coast IPA. I like just about everything. The only style that really doesn't agree with me personally are saisons, and that's one beer that Levon likes, and it's just one beer that nothing flawed with beers at all. It just doesn't do it for me. That's all.
Right. Look, that's fair. And then Levon, are you not liking some of those things? Like the sours and stuff?
No, I honestly, like West Coast is not my favorite style, but we made it, and I think it's amazing. But out of the styles that he likes that I don't like, maybe along the black lines of a black IPA or a black lager.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Are you
I
both
do like my.
go?
I was just gonna say I do like my black lagers and my Schwartz beers and my black IPAs.
Schwartz beers are incredibly underrated. Fuck, they're good, man.
Yes.
I see them all the time.
Yes, they are.
Are you both willing to be convinced, or at the very least, even if you're not convinced, be like, do you sort of like have a, all right, fine, you want to do this? Let's just do it. Let's make it as best as we can, and hopefully,
That's how we do it, basically. Yeah.
That's pretty good. It's like, cool, prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Or get me into
If one
it.
of us is not in agreement, we're like, if we're gonna do it, let's just do it right.
That's super dope. I really like that.
Or it's
Question.
like-
Go on, man.
No, I was just gonna say, or it's like we pick our battles. Like, hey, you picked the last one. Now you gotta. Now we have to brew mine that I want to do.
That's a good point. Yeah, you can go back to back. I love that though. That's actually a really cool way to work, and it sounds like it's helping you both kind of grow as far as your palate and expand your own, beer horizons as such, whilst also benefiting the consumers of Mill River, being that people now can try different styles that are done in a really great way. That I'm sure complement a lot of the food items as well, which we'll get to shortly. Beer and a Bozo has a question. He said, for years, John Kimmich has been telling us to just drink the bloody thing out of the can. Are we elevating craft beer to something it was never meant to be? I think he's saying that because he saw you, Levon, drinking the beer out of the can there.
Yeah.
And and he also says, truth be told, I nose the can more than the glass. And, like, I do that too, actually, particularly for, like, IPAs or anything hoppy. I'm sitting here, no sipping, or while you're talking.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
It depends on the beer style.
Yeah. It depends on if you want to, if you have a glass next to you, right? If I'm home relaxing on the couch, I don't mind having the glass, but if I'm out in the backyard doing yard work, I don't need to worry about a glass, right? It's all
That's
for me.
situational.
Situational for me, 100%.
That makes a lot of sense. I always found it was kind of weird with that drink from the can thing, but I always did. I tried it either way, and I felt like it tasted better in the can, for heady at least, or for.
I think I agree, Craig. And some styles of beers, I think a lot of pale ales, the aroma and the nose comes out more in a glass.
Yes.
But I feel like it's preserved more in a can than anything else.
Definitely.
That's
That's
just me.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you, and I always try and try it either way. But there's something about, like, I don't know, I like to see it as well, and like sort of not overanalyze it, but I don't know, if I haven't had it before, I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
And see if you can understand. Oh wow, they did a great job with the clarity. This is crazy, stuff like that, and just nerd out a little bit on it. But because the visual is a part. That's the interesting part about cans, I guess. Eating, consuming stuff, drinking is a lot about the visuals. So, like,
right.
That's why we have plating and stuff like that, and obviously nice presentation. You've got the beer in the glass, and you're really looking. It's got the head, and the head's supposed to keep the aroma. I've been learning more from. There's been a whole explosion of like Montreal or Quebec brewers that went to Prague, and they went to Pilsen and all that stuff, and they came back like obsessed. So, like, a bunch of people have been telling us about that and exactly how it's all supposed to be. And you can get those things where it's like this much beer, and this much head, like it's actually a thing. Like, it's kind of What's it called again? A mousse? No, mousse means foam. There's like a name for it.
Yeah, I don't know the proper term. I just know I had it once in Denver at Beer Stout Lager House. It was like a slow pour Pilsner. It took 8 minutes for them to pour my beer.
Pretty serious, eh?
And it was well worth it.
That doesn't seem cost effective.
It's probably not super cost effective, but god damn it, it's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing. But no, that's super fascinating as far as the cans and stuff. But yeah, so that I love hearing that you guys have started to expand it a little bit. I mean, even sort of getting hold of the beers again. I remember what we had last time. All of these beers are completely different. I haven't seen any of them before. So these are all new products that you guys are pumping out, which I love to see. Is it about time for the next one? Are we?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Which one do you want to do?
I'm in Blackberry.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Terry?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yep. Here for it.
Sure, why not?
Let's do it. Dave, you've got the wheat, the blackberry. It's
Yeah.
the next one in the row.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, tell us about this one. So this is a fruited wheat ale.
Yep. We've been doing this for a few years now.
Yeah.
Big favorite of a lot of people.
Love that.
We-
Sounds like
I
a
would say
classic.
during the summer, this is our biggest seller for sure.
I love it. Blackberry Rhubarb Wheat Ale. That's an interesting combination.
Yeah.
Usually, I don't think I've ever heard of anything except strawberry rhubarb.
A
Where?
little sweet, little tart.
Yeah. Like, no, I haven't even tried this from last time. How did this one come about? Because that's a pretty, like I said, a pretty unique combo right there.
We'd played around with blackberry before,
Smells great.
and rhubarb. We grew up with a catering family, so always having rhubarb pies and stuff.
Right.
And I think my dad was just like, "Hey, let's try it in a beer."
Hey, man.
Yep.
Simple. It smells so. Oh my god! It smells amazing. The blackberry. The color is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Nice and opaque, wicked head.
Mm-hmm.
Woof. To be honest, I'm not like coming back to what you guys were talking before. I'm not a wheat ale kind of guy. I used to be back in the day, but
Yeah.
there's something to be said about wheat ales with fruited wheat ales. It elevates that whole experience and changes kind of the vibe. It's not that Hogarden kind of thing that you think of.
Yeah.
So this is a big fave with the locals.
Oh, huge.
Yeah, love it.
Yep.
Why blackberry? Why was it blackberry and not something more obvious like strawberry?
I think honestly because we had used strawberry in a few other recipes, and just blackberry. Everybody expects strawberry rhubarb because strawberry rhubarb pie, strawberry rhubarb everything.
Of course,
But just to try and change it up a little bit.
Mm. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
one other.
Yeah,
I was going to hit on one thing about the strawberry. The other part about strawberry with beer, it's kind of tough to get a true strawberry flavor through in beer.
right.
You know, you got without spending a lot of money on juice concentrate or just a lot of strawberries. So the pairing, the blackberry with the rhubarb, you know, you get the sweet from the blackberry with the tart of the rhubarb. It works for us.
Yeah. Does rhubarb? I think another profile of it. I think it's bitter a little bit. Is that correct? Or astringent?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be bitter. Yeah. Yep.
Mm. Does that come through in this? I can't really tell. Like a little bit, maybe.
For me personally, maybe a little bit, but nothing too crazy.
No.
It's very
I
light
think
on the
this-
back.
Yeah, definitely feels like a back end thing.
Yeah. And I think the
It's
sweetness
definitely
of the
more
blackberry.
sweet.
Mm.
The blackberry puree definitely pushes through, and maybe a hint of the rhubarb on the back end, but nothing crazy.
No, it's definitely like it's almost like as I drink more of it, get used to it. It kind of smooths out, but the I guess the contrast from the lager to this, at first it tasted more bitter, but now having more, I'm like, yeah, it's like, you know, yeah, man, this is fascinating. This is great, and the nose on the can, like Beer of the Bozo was just saying that, like it's less sweet in the glass than it is out of the can, which is probably better because I feel like if you're drinking a wheat ale, you're not really there for some sort of sugar bomb, right? Like it's not really what the point of it is. Yeah, this is dope. I feel like, is this style something that's like super common still? I feel like I don't see a lot of wheat ales around a lot these days.
No,
Unless I'm not looking.
Not really.
No.
Especially not fruited wheats. I think there's a few wheat ales around in Vermont that I've seen recently, but not fruited wheat. It's more Gozas and IPAs and
Right.
milk
Yeah.
stouts and those.
Stuff like that. Okay, no,
Milkshake IPAs.
yes, is that still a thing? Because up here it's kind of died off. I feel like smoothie sours were the other new wave.
Smoothie sours down or smoothie gozes, or we see some places. Milkshake IPAs, we still see some places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like
have we done
Yeah,
one
have you
yet?
done?
No.
Would you? Either?
If we had a giant clientele that wants one, yes.
Okay, so you're not like
know-
against it necessarily.
No, I'm not. I mean, personally, I'm not against brewing anything.
Okay.
If
I don't
we have,
think we're against anything. It's just what we should make versus what we want to make sometimes.
Yep.
No, that makes sense.
It's a balance.
Yeah, like at least you're open, because I have seen, there are some places, and I respect it, it's their business. They're like, no, if the brewers aren't into it, they're like, we're not doing that.
Yep.
Right.
I'm not mad at that, to be honest. Like,
No, I'm not mad at that either. But it's like for me, if I brew, a 14 barrel batch of a saison, I'm not going to buy all 14 barrels of it. So we're going to brew it, we're going to have some fun. We're going to do it right. But that's how I feel on it.
I think that's a great approach. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said for, I've seen, like I was saying, a lot of breweries, or the brewers are just like, no, if I don't like it, I'm not doing it, and that means they have more of like a passion for the stuff they do, and it's going to be better. But the way that you guys have described your working relationship, I actually find this a really great approach, because you're both able to, like, at least one of you has to be passionate about it, I guess, to kind of make it on the table, right? So one of you brings it to the table, like, oh man, we need to do a milkshake IPA. You're like, oh bro, I don't like that at all. I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's make a fire one then. And I think that's a really healthy approach to one business. So people always forget that this is a business primarily, right? So you're here to make money, and like you were saying, even Terry, like if people are asking for it, then you guys are willing to do it, which I respect that a lot. But also that you're willing to, step out of any, maybe biases you may have, or sort of not into it, and you're willing to give it a crack and do it the best you possibly can. I think that's a really balanced, intelligent approach to both brewing beer and running a business and keeping that business flourishing. That's smart. I like it. Yeah, man. So then the other side of it with the restaurant, which, like you said, was started in the July of 2017 before the brewery opened. How do you guys work in tandem with the kitchen? And, do they, I'm pretty sure I've had some ridiculous desserts there last time, where it was using maybe some of the beer in like in the actual dessert, and vice versa. Do you sort of like, I guess, is that a regular thing where you're making beers and they're using it in the food? And do you brew beers to pair with the food, or do the kitchen make food to pair with the beers? Like, what's that sort of symbiotic relationship like that?
I think both. I think we try and complement each other when we can. The kitchen uses beer in beer cheese. They use it in baking. They use it in whatever they can, sauces, whatever. And we, every once in a while, try and pair up with them and just go, hey, what can we make that would pair well with these wings, or with that dessert, or with this brisket sandwich or something. So I think it's nice collaborating with both. Recently, I was just talking to my cousin is the baker in the kitchen the other day, and I was just talking to her about what she sees in the future for desserts, as she does all our homemade desserts. And she was talking to me about using more beer in the desserts, and I said, that's perfect. I said, just let me know what you're looking for and we'll try and deliver.
I love that. I think that makes it, I guess it's interesting for her in the kitchen, but it's also interesting for you guys, because it's yet another way to step out of the comfort zone a bit.
And she likes challenges too. So if we make something and she's like, how could I make that into a creme brulee or into cannoli? I mean, she tries everything and anything she can, and I don't know if I've ever had one bad thing that she's made. She's very good and she's very creative.
That feels like a problem for the waistline, eh?
Yeah. I usually try to stay away from the kitchen.
Yo, I can only imagine. We only ate that one time, and goddamn, it was amazing. Like the whole, I think we had the plate that had like a bit of everything. You had, like you were saying, like pork and brisket, and like there was definitely wings in there. There was just a whole bunch of stuff, and then the dessert. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it was amazing. It was intense because there was so much stuff, but damn, it was good. I really love that. Is this beer to me, as we were talking, the Blackberry Rhubarb? Like, I mean, I imagine this is being used plentifully in the kitchen at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
And usually when we release it, she makes a blackberry rhubarb like cheesecake or pie to go with the
Blackberry Rhubarb pie this year.
That's dope. So actually, weird food question on that is, I might be wrong, but isn't there a thing where, because like exactly what you just said, a blackberry rhubarb pie, hell yeah, I'm going to drink the blackberry rhubarb beer with it. Isn't there supposed to be some sort of rule about contrasting the beverage to the food, so like you wouldn't have a imperial stout with a chocolate cake because it's the same thing? Or am I off there?
Yeah. No, you're not really off. You're not really off there, but her pies, you know, she only makes a couple, maybe like two, like, so there's not many slices, so they definitely sell quick. I mean, it's one thing if we were making, you know, 2 to 3 dozen blackberry rhubarb cheesecakes. So with her cutting the availability, I think that cuts that issue out, to be honest. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't want to have like a 10% imperial stout with cocoa and like vanilla, and then also get like a Black Forest chocolate cake.
It seems kind of filling, but at the same token, I really would like to have a blackberry rhubarb pie with this beer. I just feel like it would, because the pie is kind of maybe a little, I imagine it would be sweeter than this, because there isn't a ton of sweetness. It kind of would cut it, even though the flavors are intentionally similar. I feel like it would still go. But yeah, it's really fun. How has it been for you guys then? Like I was saying earlier, I don't want to go on about it too much, but just the pandemic stuff and that, because I actually haven't heard a lot. Well, like we haven't had a Vermont brewery on. I've only heard from my friends there who have said it's been mostly pretty good in comparison to up here. Do you want to maybe talk about how, you know, what you, I mean, you were already canning and everything beforehand, so I imagine it was, hopefully wasn't too much of a large pivot in that sense if you had to close. But yeah, how's it been for you guys as far as, you know, moving from a draft sale to more packaged stuff, and then for the kitchen side, like what did all that look like?
Yeah, I'll talk about the beer packaging stuff, and then I'll let Levon talk about the kitchen, because he knows a little bit more about that than I do. It wasn't as bad as some other places in the region, you know, like it's hard to compare us to like a Zero Gravity or like a Fiddlehead who was putting out like a lot of kegs, right? Because just the amount of barrels that they put out a year. But we were lucky, you know, with our canning line. There were a few times that we were kind of slow production wise because we were waiting on cans. I mean, everybody was waiting on cans because everybody dropped keg sales and moved to canning. We're lucky. We're a little lucky that it didn't affect us more than other places who were buying stickered cans from another brewery and then putting their sticker over them and then selling the beer or something like that. But at least COVID wise, definitely we did see a little production delay because of some, you know, supply chain, and it's just really cans. And it wasn't even that it was a shortage, it was more a labor shortage, that they couldn't keep up with the demand of cans that their sellers were selling.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's in line with what I heard up here as far as that. But I mean, at least you guys had a canning machine, because I heard not only was there delays in the cans themselves, but say the mobile canners for those who didn't have that already, like that, they were booked out crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So I imagine that was a bit more of a thing. So that's really great that you guys had that kind of locked in. And I guess then on that side, a follow-up question would be, your can sales, you would have already had, clients as far as, beer stores, maybe not, I'm not sure about bars and restaurants, but were you able to sort of like, did people start coming to the brewery more? Were you doing, I don't think you guys can do online ordering there yet.
Yeah.
Or you could do online ordering and pick up, but not shipping.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. How did that look for you guys?
It was good. And honestly, we were able to start doing alcohol deliveries as well. So we could do 4-packs, cases, growlers, quarts, whatever it was. I mean, we started getting plastic quarts with lids and filling quarts to go, whether it was takeout or delivery. We didn't do delivery out of the restaurant before COVID, pre-COVID. It was just takeout and dine in. We shut down dine in for a while, a couple months, and we pretty much survived off takeout and delivery. And the support of our community was amazing. It literally, we did well because of our family, our friends, our community.
That's great. Is indoor dining back?
Yeah.
You have all of that back to normal?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we've had indoor dining only to like it was like 50% capacity. I think it's up to 75% now. I think in the next week or two it's supposed to be opened up to 100%. So hopefully, originally the goal was by July 4th that everything was going to be wide open, but I think they're actually striving to get it a couple weeks before then.
That's not bad. I mean, but like that sort of seems aligned with the kind of cases that you guys had. I don't think it was too wild, eh? Like you guys kind of did pretty well.
No.
You guys are so sparse.
No,
we were
spread out.
We were very low.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. We only finished. We had a curfew, like an 8 p.m. curfew since January.
Oh.
It only finished on Friday last week, and
Jeez.
they opened up patios last weekend as well when the curfew finished. So I haven't been to a brewery or more than a year, like a restaurant, eating at a restaurant. Was the last time was probably in Vermont in March 2020. So I don't even know how I feel about all that shit now. Like I don't know, I'm kind of a little shook because people were wilding here. It went out of control. It was like the worst. This was like the LA what was the bad area? Was it New York was the bad part of the States, right? That really messed up and had bad
New York.
areas. We were that.
Yeah, New York City was bad.
New York was that, right. So Quebec was that. So that's why they had to do all these crazy things. And now Ontario and like Toronto are a whole shit show as well. So it's like, it's interesting. So I think there's definitely something to be said for, I think you guys are the least populated state too, right?
One of them, yeah.
Right. One of the least populated states. So I mean, that's probably helped as far as keeping people a little bit more spread out. And I feel like everyone there is just super sensible and pretty chill and just, I guess it didn't get too out of control, which is good. But no, I'm glad to hear that you guys were killing it with the sales and the community, which seems to be the common thread amongst all of this stuff. People seem to be consistently saying that the communities are showing out, and it really shows. I mean, I feel like I sort of asked all of that more because Vermont is one of the places I always feel like that community is just incredibly strong. For anything local, doesn't matter if it's beer or the spirits, the cheese, the maple, the food, the local restaurant, anything. It's just everything is just so like, and people just really care. They want to support everything local, and it's so fantastic there. So it does not surprise me at all to hear that people are turning out, keeping everything going. So have you, anything that happened during this last year, have you kept any of those things that have worked out good, such as like a delivery for the food and things like that, or?
We have up until now. I think with the summer months rolling around and everything being open, I don't think we're going to continue delivery just because we want to try and give the customer base that's in-house the best service that we can and not take away from that.
That's fair.
And I think a lot of people understand that. We'll still do takeout, but just being able to have 1 or 2 or 3 people dedicated to delivery is tough.
Yeah, I can imagine that's some serious personnel for when you can now you got to pay. There's like gas, the car on the road, wages for them to drive it all when they could be at the restaurant serving significantly more people in that time. I completely get it.
Right.
It's a survival tactic as opposed to an ongoing thing. Okay, I like that. Hop Citizens in the building. What up, bro? Hope your live went well, my man. No, that's dope. I really like to hear that. So, as far as you touched on something before that I actually don't recall if we got into the last podcast, which was a barrel program. I think you mentioned sort of about barrel age stuff, Terry. Have you guys ever had a barrel program, and do you have one now? I don't recall from memory.
I'll take the lead on this one. This was one of those other processes I brought over.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I say we have a barrel program, it's massive with four barrels. That's all we have right now because we don't have space. We don't have space, right? You know, we're restricted on space, but we were lucky enough to get some barrels from Whistle Pig, and so
they local.
They are local. Yeah. Well, they're down towards Middlebury, Vermont. But we brewed a maple porter that we're gonna throw in that are in the Whistle Pig barrels. You know, that will hang out for 8 months, and then we'll release it next year. But it's just, you know, as I said before, you know, evolving the beer profile. Hopefully down the road we'll be able to get a secondary location where we can have barrel storage, where we can start to play around with more barrels and, you know, maybe more wild firm barrels. You know, I got my fingers crossed for a cool ship. But that's way down the road, don't worry. But it's just, you know, barrel aged beer sells, right? It's like, and it's fun to take the flavor. It's fun to take the flavor, you know, that you get from the whiskey, the rum, tequila, whatever you decide to go with on the barrel. And it's just nice how the liquor flavor and the beer flavor just pairs potentially so well.
It's amazing. I'm totally with it, man. I feel like it's it seems to be, yes, it does sell well, and it's, you know, they're high ticket prices, so they're like, you know, obviously a bottle of barrel aged stuff goes for a lot more. I feel like it's almost like a it's like what the brewers really want. Like there's a certain segment of people who want it, and it seems like a lot of brewers, because it's like it's got to be fun. Like I can understand that, like it's a completely different thing. Like you're brewing a beer instead of just chucking it in a bright tank or whatever. Like it's, you know, slapping it into a barrel for a bit, or maybe adding some adjuncts and stuff, and you're just like having this real creative, like it's something that's almost even more with your hands, like this whole other process, and you're checking in on it and pull the nail out and like, oh yeah, that's looking good, like how, you know, then the blending and like it's just dope. It's just like a cool process.
Yeah. No, so the maple porter that's in the barrels, we haven't nailed it yet. We haven't put nails in it yet.
Okay.
I've kind of told them no touch, don't touch for a while. And then, you know, once we get, you know, a couple months, you know, it's already been a couple months, but, you know, a couple more months, we'll put a nail in and we'll start tasting. And then eventually one day we're going to taste it and we're going to be like, okay, it's happening tomorrow. Like it needs to go. Like, and so we'll brew, you know, so then the blending process, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see, you know, I've done a few barrel aged beers, but again, at another smaller brewery, but it's one barrel, you know, one barrel. That's all. So you don't really get it. I'm happy and excited for the multi-barrel process.
I love that. So far you're going to do single barrel, like you're not going to do a blending process. Is like.
Well, no, we'll do a blending process of like, because we have 4 barrels of the same beer. It's just all of my beers that I've done in the past have been single barrel, with a blend back, if needed,
Okay.
which most beers need to be blended back a little bit.
Blended back means adding fresh beer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Young beer.
You don't want to have, as much as the next person might want like an 18% barley wine, blend it back to like 12% or something like that. Yeah.
Gotcha. No, I'm with that for sure. I didn't realize how hectic we went to. You mentioned Colorado before. We did this Colorado trip at the tourism office a couple of years back, and we went to a distillery there, and I didn't realize what like barrel proof meant. So like they pulled it out of the barrel, and I guess what does it end up to be like 100 and something? Well, is it possible to be over 100 proof or 200? Whatever. It was it was like 100.
Yeah.
Whatever. How far does proof go? 200 proof? Isn't it double?
It's
200.
like one. Yeah, I think it's 200 proof. Yeah.
So this is like 180
200 proof
right?
Is pure alcohol.
Pure ethanol. Okay. Yeah. So whatever. It was like insanely high, and I didn't realize when you try. I'm like, oh my! And then they have this little thing, and they squirt water into the thing to blend it back in the exact same way. And I've never really seen that before. So I still haven't really seen like beer being blended, but that was the closest I've seen. And like that shit is wild when you really think about it. So I never really thought that no one's ever mentioned that really in all of these millions of podcasts that like the beer ends up being at like 18%. You have to. I thought people added the young beer for more of a flavor component as opposed to to control that wild ass ABV.
Well, it definitely could be a flavor component as well.
Right.
But it's also so it doesn't burn the back of your throat potentially, or process as well. Yeah. It's a calming process.
Yeah, that makes sense. And obviously, like you're right, it's different to have like a 100+ proof bourbon as opposed to a 18% like barrel aged barley wine or something. It's not as fun. It's a little intense.
Well, to give you an idea, our barrels are 125 proof, and we didn't strip them of all the liquid inside before we put the maple porter inside. So,
correct.
It's going to have to get blended back.
Okay, so I didn't know. I've never heard that before. That the barrels have a proof. So is that explain?
No,
that.
So when when the whiskey or rum or whatever gets extracted from the barrel, there's still liquid in the staves, right? The staves aren't dry, and there is, still some on the bottom of the barrel. So when they get transported to the brewery or the winery or whatever that's going to use them next, there's still some in the bottom. And
you just leave
they just leave it in there, gives it flavor. You don't want right, because barrel-aged beer, you don't want to grab a barrel from a distillery and then not put beer in it for a month. Right? You want to kind of put liquid right back in there right away. You don't want it to dry. You don't want the staves to dry out.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah, and then the added liquor that's in there also helps like sanitize the barrel, because nothing's gonna grow in there with the high proof alcohol.
With 67% whiskey.
Yeah. That's actually genius. I don't know why I never really thought about that. That's because my first thought was like, oh, wouldn't you have to clean it or whatever? But I'm like, nah, you're right. It couldn't be more sanitary, and it's also that sanitizer happens to be packed with flavors, and that's the flavor you're going for anyway. So that's a bonus. Another thing that sort of reminded me, as you said, you're doing a maple porter. I don't know if you want to touch on this too much, but I know that Levon, you and your cousin, if I'm not mistaken, are maple people with trees, and you explain it to me. Is it what? I was going to say the word farmer, but it's not a maple farmer, is it?
Maple sugaring.
Sugaring, okay. Do you want to touch on that? Because I think that was like your original like business, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, we still have that going. We actually used our maple syrup in that maple porter.
I assume. Okay, dope.
It's pretty much the same thing that we had years ago. We've increased. We're boiling a little over 3,000 taps, which is kind of a smaller operation for Vermont. I mean, there's anything from 100 taps to 200,000 taps in Vermont. So we're on the smaller end, I guess. But yeah, it's a little bit above a hobby for us, I guess, if you might say.
Okay, and when you say a tap, does that mean a tree, like where you've got a?
No, that's each tap. So roughly, maybe about 3,000 trees or so, maybe a little less, depending on the diameter of the tree. Sometimes there'll be multiple taps on a tree if it's a big mature tree. But
okay, and then you just withdraw the. It's called sap at that point. The maple sap.
Yep.
And then you turn that into maple water. Is it maple water, I think?
Syrup.
So just the syrup. What's maple water
then? I would say maple water would be, I mean, maybe the RO water. So we have a reverse osmosis machine. We pull the water from the sap just to increase the sugar content. And a lot of people have packaged that and packaged it as maple water.
Okay, so it's not doesn't taste like.
Really, it's just purified water coming off from the sap. So
I get it though. That's cheeky. That's cheeky. I respect it though.
It's a marketing thing.
That makes more sense. And how much? Yeah. So I mean, you guys get to use that in the beers. Does it get used in the kitchen stuff too? I imagine. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, we make roughly 500 gallons of syrup or so a year, depending on the year, and we'll use anywhere from 5 to 50 gallons in the brewery, depending on what our beer styles look like for that year. And then a lot of it will go to the kitchen. We'll package some for retail sales, but a lot of it goes to the kitchen, and we do sell some wholesale to a distributor.
That's amazing. I love that. That's great. Can people buy it directly from you guys if they come in to buy beer and food and stuff? Yeah, they can go. I love that.
Yeah, we sell it. Honestly, we package it and we sell a lot of it right out of the restaurant. Just we have it in the BAOS system, and it's just easier that way. We keep some in the walk-in cooler, and somebody comes in and they want to order syrup, it's right there.
I love that. That's great. Aside from the maple porter, do you have other beers sort of in the works or other things that you plan to use it for?
You skipped. I missed that middle part.
I cut out. Aside from just the maple porter, do you have other beers in the works that you plan to use maple for?
There's always
there's maple. Yeah.
Anything with maple. Yeah, potentially. We've done a maple amber of the last couple years. We passed on it this year. We can bring that one back. I mean, I'm okay with trying maple and like a potential in an IPA at one point. But lately in my head, I've been kind of thinking maple with like a Rausch beer, like a maple Rausch beer or something like that down the road.
That's an interesting option too. I don't think I've ever seen a Rausch beer that has other like adjuncts in it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's technically considered a Rausch beer though, if there's adjuncts in it, because beer purity laws, whatever. Yeah, a smoked maple lager or something like that. I don't know.
That could be dope.
I have some fun ideas in my head. It's just planning them out and being successful, right?
Yeah. And convincing Levon, be like, all right, hear me out.
Oh, he's put his foot down a couple times already.
Yeah. What did he say no to? That actually must be that got to be funny.
Oh, it's just really black IPA. So far once every 3 weeks I ask him, let's do a black IPA.
Yeah. Not successful yet.
Not yet. Give it time.
I feel like they have they been making a comeback in Vermont at all? Because I feel like they kind of have. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Like subtle. Like people aren't like they're not like people have 6 different black IPAs, but I feel like they're they're popping up. It almost just goes through like a wave. I feel like it comes through maybe like boredom. Like, oh my god, another New England fuck. Let me do a West Coast. Let's do a black IPA. Let's do a brute IPA. Maybe if they're really bored.
No.
Switch it back up. No, you guys not.
No.
No brutes.
No, I don't. I can't do it. That's okay. Maybe there's one beer style that I just won't brew, and it's a brewed IPA.
I respect. Why is that? You had never had a good one?
I haven't had a good one, and it just, again, it doesn't really appeal to me. It's like, I feel like brewed IPA was a summer fad a few years ago, kind of like glitter beer, right? That was a fad
It's true.
for a summer, and then hard seltzer became the summer fad, but that never went away, and that's still here.
So we're not going to get a Mill River Seltzer, is what you're telling me.
Oh no, Mill River Seltzer probably at some point, maybe.
You almost have to, right?
But yeah, I mean, we have we have done a non-alcoholic one with Blackberry
Nice.
to add a non-alcoholic option for people in the restaurant.
That's a great idea. Is non-alcoholic becoming a thing down there?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
We've definitely had some people that have asked us about it. It's something that I haven't really played around with. That if once I do the research and everything, yeah, we'll have some fun. But I want to make sure I'm fully educated on something before going into it, saying it's non-alcoholic, but then it's alcoholic
It being
or something,
alcoholic.
and then it being alcoholic. So it's like, it's definitely something that we are looking at though in the future for our portfolio.
I like that. It's become like a huge thing here, like a ridiculous thing beyond anything I ever thought it would. Because I thought it was hot garbage until recently. Now I understand. I get it now. Like I feel like they're like, it's all about how you approach them. Like if you think, you can't think of it like it's a beer. It has to be fizzy beer flavored water thing in your mind as a consumer to be able to appreciate it. But then from you guys, I believe there's 3 ways to make non-alcoholic beer. There's like a specific yeast, there's de-alcoholizing it, and there's something else which I always forget.
Yeah, there's an enzyme you can use, which is de-alcohol, take
De-alcoholizing.
alcohol out. Yeah. The third one I don't remember, but it's definitely the yeast. I've been looking at, doing a little research on the enzyme that you would use to take the alcohol out. So I'm not comfortable yet with trying it, but give me a cup, give me a little bit and a pilot system, where we can have some fun with like a 2-barrel batch. We'll have some fun.
I think that'd be good. I feel like it's just a matter of time before that's. I think after this, obviously you guys didn't get the lockdown as bad as we did, but with the amount of people putting on weight because of the lack of movement, obviously no gyms or that type of stuff, there seemed to be a bit more of a trend towards, like particularly like early on in everything, we're all just like fucking just crushing, like weren't really sure what was going to happen. People were losing their jobs and they're like, oh, they're going to have money for beer. I'm like, yeah, that's all they have money for. So like that essentially increased, and then eating more. Then over that summer, then all of a sudden like everybody's like, what happened here? And I feel like that might have like pushed the trend a little bit towards, because I know my partner Tiffany and I, is our producer of the podcast, they satiate you in a way that I never anticipated. And it's great. It's so dope. Like it tricks you sometimes to a way. Like if you're having the nights off, which I know about you guys, but I put a schedule. Like I got strict drinking and non-drinking nights now that I stick to. And on the non-drinking nights, if I feel like something, I try and keep some non-alcoholic stuff around. Completely satiated. I'm good. It's
have up in Canada, I'm not sure if you have them, but the hopped like non-alcoholic seltzer from Lagunitas.
We don't get
No,
we don't get that. That's pretty good, eh?
Okay. Yeah, it's a good next when you can come back across, pick some up, because it's definitely a good night off, but it's with the hops, it's a dry hopped one. It still makes you feel like you're drinking but not drinking.
So I
you-
love
if you
that
need
idea.
it.
Yeah. No, totally,
Yeah.
man. That's exactly the type of stuff. So it's kind of like just literally a seltzer water that's been hopped. So if you've got that
Yeah.
real hop, I love that. There was a brewery in Ontario that sent me some stuff recently. They did single hop. One was Centennial, I think. Chinook and Cascade, something like that. Like kind of classic hops, and it was just fizzy water that was a little bit like oily. You can tell from like the hop oils, and it sounds pretty similar. And you could actually tell the profile of the hop because they single hopped it, and it was just straight fizzy water. I'm like, damn, this stuff is amazing. Like we get this kombucha here that's like a hop kombucha, and I imagine it's the same thing. It kind of tastes like it too. So it's like, I feel like it's opened up this whole new market aside from the seltzers, which you can love or hate. I guess there's some good ones, there's some bad ones. Overall,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not mad at it. I feel like less people are mad at it than maybe I thought. Even if it's not really for us as beer drinkers, it's a viable option. That's kind of like an offshoot. The alcoholic seltzers, I mean, and then the non-alcoholic stuff is a whole other. I don't know. It's interesting to me. It's just like a.
I would say, it's been the last few years. It hasn't been like the last decade. I would say within like the last 2 years, it's definitely
Tops.
opened up where people want non-alcoholic options, which is fine. And as long as you can put out a good product, that's all that matters, right? I've had a few good ones out there, but if I wanted a drinking experience without the alcohol, I've been drinking a lot of those Lagunitas.
Man, now I need to guess them.
Well,
Okay.
And now it's a craft non-alcoholic. It's not just a Labatt non-alcoholic or a Bud Light non-alcoholic or an O'Doul's. It's a craft flavored beverage without the alcohol. I think that is the new fad.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I think it's cool. It's a challenge for you guys as well. It keeps it interesting because you guys have to figure out something like we were saying, and it gives it, it encourages more people to come to the restaurant. Because if you have like whatever, like flavor, like we got some recently from here, and they were like, it was insane. It was like the fruited like Berliner Weisses, and they were like as damn near as thick as a smoothie sour, and they were just non-alcoholic. It was fucking crazy. I couldn't believe what I was drinking, and it was and I was like, oh, if this is what non-alcoholic can be, I'm like, this is a beautiful new world, man. It was delicious. I genuinely was enamored with this stuff. So I feel like it's cool because, like I said, it encourages people to come to the restaurant. You have 3-4 different things available, whether they're packaged or on tap or something. I mean, people who don't really drink could come and enjoy the food. I'm sure they're going to want to eat, the amazing food there and stuff. And rather than just drink a Coke or some water or something, at least they can have something that's interesting, and maybe they feel like they're drinking with everybody else, type of thing. Super cool. Speaking of drinking like everyone else, should we move to the next one?
Yes.
Sure.
Should we do whichever you say?
We'll let you pick.
Ooh.
I was going to say we'll let you pick.
Okay, so we have a West Coast and a regular New England, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's go. I feel like the bitterness of the West Coast might overwhelm the New England softness. Is that accurate? Or not too much? No?
I would.
Yeah?
No. I would say, I mean,
It's tough.
yeah.
Maybe
I
we
would
should
say
do Here you go. West Coast first?
I was going to say I was going to say New England first,
New
because
England.
if we don't,
Yeah.
we don't want
I was thinking New England
malt,
first.
Just to be safe.
yeah, the maltiness of the malt forwardness a little bit with a little
Thank you, baby.
of the bitter.
Yeah, just to be extra safe. And this is only 6.5%. Perfect. This one's called Figure It Out. What are the hops in this little beast right here?
Levon, seeing how I haven't been around in a couple weeks, what do we put in there again? It was, I'm trying to remember now off the top of my head.
I'm just pouring.
Just for it. Do you have any? Do you remember what hops are in this?
Yes, I know one big contributing factor in the dry up. We'll give away the new secret weapon, Trident.
Trident.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep, Trident.
Trident was one of them from Hopsteiner.
Trident, Hopsteiner.
What's Hopsteiner? Like a hop yard?
Yeah, it's hop supplier.
Hop supplier. Okay.
Hop supplier out of New York City, everywhere.
Okay.
I think Trident was one of the top hops. I believe we use Calypso as well from Hopsteiner.
Okay.
And then Azaka. In Azaka.
In Azaka, yeah.
Trident.
Yep.
So what was the second one?
Calypso.
Calypso. I'm sorry. Calypso. There you go. Writing that down. Okay.
Trident, Calypso, and Azaka.
Okay, interesting. What do those like? The only one I don't think I've even heard of Trident. If I'm honest.
Trident's a newer hop.
Okay.
That's out there. It gives out a stronger like watermelon juicy flavor characteristic.
Interesting.
And it's something that we haven't used. And again, it was, as we talk about expanding our beer portfolio, the only way to learn more is to try new hops that we haven't used before. So
Totally.
Calypso and Trident were on this batch.
How do you feel they went? Like, would you continue to use it?
Trident for me, citrus. It's citrus. It's gonna be. I think Trident. I would like to use Trident again.
Okay.
I kind of want to do a watermelon IPA eventually.
Nice.
And watermelon juice concentrate single hop with Trident. I definitely get a little bit passion fruit from it as well.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's a newer hop that Hopsteiner is trying to put out, and I actually enjoy it a lot. It's kind of one that Levon and I were talking about for a while, like, hey, do we pull the trigger this week? We've talked about it for a few weeks now. We've talked about it for a while now. We've said, okay, you know what? No more talking. Let's just do it.
Yeah. We're not going to use it in the future. We're going to use it on this beer.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. And do you think it'll make a comeback? It'll be a regular thing?
I think so.
So, yeah. Again, when I came on, as you said before, right? The 5 beers that you got sent and you're looking at, you haven't seen before. At a brewery at our level, unfortunately, in the times that we live in, flagships are dead for us, really. It's not like we have the massive space like, again, Zero Gravity or Fiddlehead that can just constantly put out the same beer and have the same amount of shelf space at the store. So this beer will, it'll be around. We're going to start rotating through beers, and we want to make sure that people enjoy our product with everything. It's kind of tough though, if we put the same beer out all year round at times, we may, you could kill the brand of the beer, where people are like, oh, it's always in the store. Why would I want to buy it now when I can get it 2, 3, 4 months down the road or something like that? So that's what we're pushing.
It's a very tough balance between marketing and production, in-house sales, our distribution, our distributors' distribution. It's always a balance. Trying to find that medium.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good point. So I love it. You guys saying, you have a bunch of beers and you kind of rotate through them. I love that. The first place I ever saw that was actually Burlington Beer Co., where they sort of like, every other month or every 3 months, this brand comes back, and it's sort of like, oh, I'm here now. No, that one's out now, but next time I come, it's back again, right? And there's something about that is the closest thing to a flagship, but it allows the brewery to iterate and tweak and perfect, which is something that is impossible for you guys to do. The expectation of knocking out 3 new beers every week or whatever it is, and knocking everyone out the park with never doing this thing before. It's quite a lot to ask from breweries, but I really think there's something to be said for that sort of pattern. So, do you guys have a whether it's for people who haven't learning about you guys now or locals who are familiar, like, do you have certain beers that you currently rotate around? Like, I remember back in the before times in 2019, you guys had I think it was called Full Mill, which was the New England IPA. Fully Mill, thank you. Is that still around?
It's taking a break. It's taking a break for a little bit. Yep. Again, I don't know how other breweries feel, but at least in my mind, it's tough to make. Let's say we wanted to put out 4 New England IPAs. I don't think I could, as a business, justify that, because the person in the store is then fighting your own product, right? So if we're releasing 1 New England at a time, it's better, right? At least in my mind. It might not be in everybody's mind, but in my mind, you're not fighting yourself for shelf space. You're not fighting yourself for the consumer. Right. If the consumer goes in to the store and you have 7 New England IPAs and they want a New England IPA, it's just, it's a losing battle, right? But it's that Fulling Mill will come back, but it's taken a little bit of a break.
Gotcha. Do you have other brands that you would, just for people to be aware of, like you could have?
Yes. Well, so we had the Crawl series. So there was a session, a single, a double, and a triple IPA.
Okay.
Those will be around a little bit.
Is that the triple?
You have the triple, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Crawl Me a Night. Yep.
Okay.
We started a Goza series. Started a Goza series. Another thing. Let's see. We've done 2 batches. So we've done 2 different batches. We did around Christmas time. We did tangerine cranberry, and I would say a couple months ago we put out a pomegranate one. And tomorrow, right? Tomorrow. We're doing mango habanero.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bringing it back.
With some more plans on some other ones in the summer, but it's the same, it'll be the same beer name. It's just we're gonna rotate through what fruit we use or what in the style. It's the first two batches that we did sold really well. So that's probably what we'll stick with, those series. Everything else, you'll see not one-offs, but there's no true name or anything like that.
Gotcha. Okay, so there's not basically. Are you looking to find the next, beer to add to a regular rotation? Because the series are great. I love the series where you just keep changing up the fruits or changing hops or whatever. Yep. That's dope. But are they going to be like the fully milled? This is the one I remember the most. But are they going to be things like that? That would be, every quarter you bring the bad boy back or something like that.
I think
potentially.
So.
Yeah,
right now it's tough.
I was gonna say we're lucky enough to how small we are. Is we're not, we don't have to brew what the big stores want, right? So all these brewers that have accounts in in some of the bigger grocery stores, right? They have to brew beer for those accounts, and then you got to deal with UPC codes and everything. But I definitely see us going down the line of some series. It's just right now we're starting with the Goza, and I would say hopefully soon maybe we'll have a New England out, or I'm another fan of toasted coconut, and a toasted coconut series would be fun. Yeah. Other than when you spend all morning toasting the coconut yourself. That's
Yeah, I heard that's bad.
the last. Yeah, that was great. 5 hours. I toasted like 80 pounds of coconut in like 4.5 hours.
That's insane. On a home
Yeah.
oven, just at home.
Oh no,
No.
in the
Okay.
kitchen at the restaurant.
That's
I had to
bad.
do it on a day that the kitchen was off, and I had to go in early. But it's
Yes.
fun. Toasted coconut is great, other than the cleanup.
Yeah, I hear it's a nightmare. Just to get
Yeah.
it right, it's just messy, and yeah, you're right. With the hard shells, you break all these bloody things, you know. I like that though. That's dope, and I guess you're right. That's a good point. That I noticed there's some craft breweries in Vermont that have started to have a bit more of a stronger presence in Trader Joe's and Healthy Living, all the different places that will have those. I guess those contracts do require them to continue to deliver certain products. So at least you do have the flexibility to kind of be like, like where do you take the cues from? Is it from like the tap room or from just like how do you sort of decide whether like, oh, people are loving this one? Like, is that from distro? Like what's
a mixture of our distributor, our distribution itself. So we have our own self-distribution for the 3 local counties. We have another distribution company for the rest of the state. And then, what happens in the tap room. It's kind of a balance between all 3. But at this point, like Terry said, being as small as we are, it's kind of up to us at this point. And what's moving the best for us? What can we move for product? And right now, it's just been making new beers and new styles, and just keeping it fresh and new.
No, that's great. Do you guys ever just want to do something, and you're just like, I want to do this, and I want this one to be our thing? Like, does it ever kind of come from that, or is it really more of a an approach from the numbers? Like you look at the numbers and whatever they tell you, you move with that.
I was gonna say I'll say the Goza that we did right around Christmas time. We put it out, and our own distribution network, which is 3 counties in Vermont, we sold our entire thing in 5 days or something. It was a week. Yeah, a week. It was our whole thing was sold in a week. So some of the smaller batch stuff that we do, we'll keep to us. Our sales guy Corey, he does a fantastic job, and we definitely get feedback from Corey about, hey, I'm hearing a lot from the store owners. Can you brew this? And that's kind of another way that the West Coast came up, because he was, a lot of stores asked Corey, are you guys going to do a West Coast IPA? I've got 10 to 15 people a week asking for a West Coast IPA, and no one's brewing one. So we brewed one.
Interesting. I never considered that.
Yep.
That's perfect. So I mean, it's sort of they're doing the market research for you. They have to serve their customers, and if the breweries aren't making them, then all they have to do is every time the sales rep comes in, be like, yo, everyone's asking for West Coast, no one's got one. The lane is there. And that helps them, helps the customer, helps you. Yo, that's awesome. Has that happened before with any other style, or is it just the West Coast?
I think just really that we focused more West Coast than anything, because for the most part, we've been pretty, spread out on our styles and everything. Just a couple store owners just went for it and asked about a West Coast IPA, so we jumped on it.
Love it.
I mean, I think since we started doing sours year round, because most breweries only do sours during the summer. If we throw out a sour in the winter, everybody wants it because they don't have a sour on the shelf, and a lot of people like sours.
Interesting.
So that's a good way for us to easily move a product.
I love that. I think that's super dope. I don't know how common that is. I guess it all depends on each region has their different sort of alcohol sales
Right.
system and stuff like that. But no one's ever mentioned that before. That it's specifically come from that channel though, because that seems so many steps removed. That it's like it's not the consumer, but it's the people dealing with the consumer. I mean, it's logical. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what got you in the West Coast game. Was this the first? I know we'll get to the beer soon enough, but was that the first West Coast that you guys had done?
Yes.
It was. Okay.
Yep.
And just from that, what did you get a lot of people asking for something like that in the tap room, or were they buying stuff to go aside from just the store owners?
I'll say, like, our clientele that comes into the restaurant that's been supportive throughout COVID, they're gonna buy anything new that we put out.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter what it is. We did a toasted coconut porter in the wintertime. It sold really well out of the restaurant. This was the first time though that we kind of listened to a few stores and say, hey, you're technically the frontline worker, right? In a way, they're dealing with the customer on a daily basis. What kind of feedback are you getting? And this is the feedback we got. So I worked a couple weeks to try to figure out a recipe and worked on a recipe.
I love it. It's just like it's kind of perfect, really. It's a nice. It even just further demonstrates that symbiotic relationship between breweries and the stores and stuff, which is pretty cool in Vermont. You guys have an interesting. The thing that comes to mind is actually not too far from Pro Pig. I think it's called Crosswing something. It's like a gas station at the roundabout in Waterbury.
Oh, Crossroads
down here or something.
Crossroads,
even just because we don't have like gas stations here can have beer, but it's hot garbage. Like it's Bud and stuff. It's literally there's no craft. I don't know why, but there it always blew my mind because it doesn't matter where you go. There's amazing beer staring you at the face in the supermarket and the damn gas station, just completely unassuming. It's just a regular ass gas station in Waterbury there.
Yep.
I love that about Vermont. That I feel like it's almost like you guys have got. I guess it's probably hard for you to even really say, but in contrast to maybe other places, almost more points of sale because it doesn't matter where you go. Like every restaurant has like at least like a half a dozen craft options. Every gas station has something. I mean, at the very least, if it's like the OG stuff, like maybe the large, maybe you can. The thing that comes to mind is like Otter Creek or something like that, like solid stuff. But maybe they've got the larger packs. We get like a 12 mixer pack or something, as opposed to singles or 4 packs or whatever. Like it just feels like there's almost more opportunity to sell beer in Vermont, and the average consumer is more knowledgeable about beer because of the prevalence of the product. That it kind of allowed that. Yeah, okay, you feel okay, good. That's what I felt from the whatever dozen times I've been there. That like that's
I
the
agree.
Yeah, okay, good. Because that's what it feels like, and that's probably why we love it so much there, right? Because there's not many places that are like that. Like it's almost the States is obviously leagues ahead of anywhere else that I've been as far as since I've been into beer in the last decade or so. But as far as noticing wherever you go, like I'm sure just like I do whenever you go somewhere, like I'm going to breweries, I'm going to a beer bar. I'm looking before I go. I'm not just turning up at some place and hoping they have good beer. It's not, I'm not taking that risk. I'm not rolling the dice. But if I did, because sometimes you're forced to, it's always good. So like I feel like all of that to say, just like it seems like that there's there's more opportunities to sell these things to different people, and therefore more opportunities to get different feedback because they're in so many different establishments. The types of consumers that you can't even really like button it down to a type, like the typical like the three of us white dudes with beards and shit, like the typical craft beer consumer in Vermont might look a little different because more people are exposed to it and just familiar with it, like it's just part of the culture more. So hopefully that allows you guys to sort of do more with it and use that to get creative or whatever.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. As we were talking about the West Coast, you want to open the West Coast?
I'm keen because I feel like we've talked it up so much. I usually finish these afterwards anyway, so that's all gravy. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Babe, can you grab the West Coast when you get a sec? What are the hops in the West Coast?
We did Simcoe, Centennial,
Nice.
Cascade, and Apollo.
Columbus.
Kettle hop
Columbus.
and Columbus. Yeah, but we also and Columbus. Yeah.
Columbus and Apollo.
Okay.
We when I was doing some research on like West Coast IPAs, I kind of thought of like Russian River a little bit.
Okay.
You know, Blind Pig. So
Yes.
that's kind of
That's what
kind
this
of
was
where
after?
I went with it.
Nice.
Yeah. Trouble in the Forest. So if you see in the forest, there's some drums, and it's a tribute to Neil Peart.
Yeah, name.
Yeah,
From
we're
the Rush one.
from Rush. Yeah, we're a big.
Man, Rush
Yes.
out of
okay.
Canada.
I was gonna say, yeah, they love him in Ontario. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, but I played around with some new a malt, like a grain bill that I haven't really used much. That so I went for it. You know, it's one of those swing. I just went for it. What is it? Mosaic Promise grain.
Okay.
I haven't really used it before,
Golden
but
Promise.
or golden promise. See, Mosaic Promise is. See, look, I'm so tired. Mosaic Promise
Long days.
is what? Yeah, Mosaic Promise is a beer. That's funny. Golden Promise, and with a little crystal malt, and I think it came out just what I was, just what I wanted, just what we wanted, not I wanted, but what we wanted. The right amount of color, how you can see through the glass with a little bit of crystal malt, and I think the appropriate amount of like front end maltiness that you would expect, or earthiness you would expect with a West Coast IPA.
Okay. It's
Good amount of bitterness, good amount of maltiness.
And-
It's well balanced.
It's just got all of that. So, is it look at that photo. Is it is it modeled after Blind Pig specifically? Is that like the closest beer that you are aiming for?
Not really the closest beer, because I
Nice.
take like when I write a recipe, I might have like 6 or 7 recipes in front of me.
Okay.
Potentially, or ideas, and then I'll pick and choose what parts I like.
Okay.
Or it's like, hey, I like this grain bill a little bit, but I also like this part of the grain bill on recipe B or something like this,
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a fun little building experiment per se, right? When you're sitting around, I've got right on the other side of my computer, I've got a massive whiteboard that's got recipes where I'm just like writing down percentages of stuff that I want to try.
That's awesome. That's
and
dedication.
everything. So, yeah, I mean, I'm downstairs in my little basement, little hangout, my little workshop that's in the basement. But I got a massive whiteboard, and I sit down here a lot after the wife and the baby's asleep and write ideas down.
Best way
And
to
see
do
if
it.
anything
If it sticks a bit.
if anything sticks.
And then if it does, then you bring that to Levon and you guys figure something out. It could be an idea.
Yep. Yeah.
No, this is solid. It's not
I'm not one to say no usually.
No, you're pretty chill.
Yeah.
This is.
We just let it go.
I respect that. It's the best move, right? It's cool to have that sort of like, now that there's 2 of you guys, at least, coming back to what we talked about at the beginning, that you're able to sort of bounce ideas and different things off each other, and I feel like that definitely elevates everything and makes things a lot easier and interesting for you guys. This is super interesting, man. This is great. Like balanced sweetness. It's not over the top. There's a little bit of the bitterness is certainly there, but it's not like a punch in the face. It's a little dank. Super crushable. 7.2 doesn't taste it or anything. It's not boozy. Yeah, I think you guys did a solid first effort ever. West Coast IPA. Shit, man. Well done.
Thank you.
First ever. Cheers.
Yeah, man. Cheers to that. Yeah, West Coast. There's something super interesting about. There's like I guess you guys have probably been. I got into beer properly heavily at 2011, so 10 years. I imagine you guys might be something similar, unless you're younger. Can't tell. You guys don't have any grey hair in your beard, so. I guess I'm saying there's nostalgic value in this beer. For,
definitely. Yeah.
Back in early 2010s, even previously when the IBU race was on and all you wanted was something to strip your tongue. We all went through that and you sort of come back around to the haze, and then now that's led way to this interesting different IPAs again. It's probably why people are curious about the black IPA, which is hit or miss. When it hits, it's great, but it's few and far between, if we're honest.
No,
but yeah,
100%.
Yeah. No,
I was going to say I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
They're
on that.
Yeah, they can be fantastic. Black Schwartz beers, like black lagers, like Levon, you got to get on board with that, bro. They're incredible.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I'll take care of it. Don't worry.
Okay. I believe you, Terry. I have faith.
Yeah.
They're like.
When I'm gone, it'll get brewed.
I feel like you need to have the right one. Like there's so many good ones. Like maybe up here, maybe I haven't had enough of them from down there, but oh my god, they're amazing. But yeah, I like that we've come back around. It's allowed space essentially for this new appreciation of a style that we all kind of, most of us around the late 20s, 30s, etc. got into beer with these styles, or at least came around to them pretty soon after. And it's so nice to have that back again because we're so used to the flavor profile of why haze is amazing. It's just really refreshing to try something else. And and just bring those old flavors back. And it's like it reminds me. I'd be curious to see if it's the same as you guys, but if you guys got into beer, it sounds like you probably did. You're drinking macro trash. You move on to macro lagers. You move on to maybe European lagers. You go through the color wheel, ambers, brown ales, maybe a bit of saisons, porters, stouts, and then into Belgian and the British stuff. And then maybe then the trendy shit happened, and then you're coming into fruited sours and New Englands and all this stuff. And then now that the lager thing has come back, you have this like new appreciation for these flavors that you thought were kind of pedestrian a decade ago, and now you're like, fuck me, this is amazing. And that same thing has happened, I think, with West Coast IPAs to a degree. Maybe a little bit less, because I feel like lager's a little more, and the Pilsner world is a little more, there's more depth to it because of that history.
Yeah.
From
I think it's honestly less known to most new craft drinkers. All they know coming up is IPAs.
That's it. And New England IPAs specifically. Yeah.
But showing them the lagers and the pilsners is, I think, going to be the next step.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say new drinkers. They know. It seems like from my experience right now, IPAs and White Claw.
That's what anyone wants. Yeah, I love that. That's all they drink. They drink fucking seltzers and haze.
Yeah.
And now Costco claws.
Yeah, Costco made some.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Are they bad?
Yep. No, actually.
They're good. Okay.
They're okay.
Yeah, they're good.
I mean, I had a pills. I mean, I had a pilsner the other day, and I'm just like, man, why can't I just buy more Pilsners?
Yeah.
Right? That's all I need. I just want light. I mean, I'm summertime. I want sours. I want lawnmower beers. I don't need heavy bourbon barrel stouts or heavy IPAs right now at least in my life right now. Crispy boys. That's all I want.
Just all the crisp. Yeah, man. I feel that too. It's it's a whole different craving, and even when I do trades with people, I'm just like, yeah, just get me Crispies, man. I'm waiting on some stuff. I sent my friend from Toronto moved to San Diego, and he's American citizen and stuff now, and haven't seen him for a bit. So I was like, all right, we talk about doing a trade, and I was like, yeah, and I put together a bunch of beers that he would kind of miss from back home and some other stuff, just like half a dozen. Slick got it through the mail, got him that, and I was like, yo, all I wanted from him was just get me some Platinum. I just wanted the West Coast. I'm still waiting for it. The motherfucker he owes me, but it was interesting that that's where it goes. So I'm either asking him for that, or if I'm trading with my brothers in Toronto, and they've actually closed the provincial borders, so we can't even go there. Like, they're policed. It's crazy. So me and him have been like, just, he's a part of the podcast. He'll be mixing this episode. He's an audio engineer as well. So like, I send him stuff and back and forth. So every time he gets stuff for me, I just get me Crispies, man. Like, yep. It's an interesting thing when you get to the stage when you're like, cool, like the haze is great. Like, yeah, cool, chuck a couple of those in, but yeah, get me like 2 or 3 of each of the Crispies. Because like, you're right, I'm in an apartment. I do not have a lawn to mow, but like, you just want to it's complex enough, but delicate and just not over the top. And you can drink a few of them if you want. If you don't want to like switch up styles and everything, it's glorious. And I feel like if it didn't, actually, question for you guys: do you think you would appreciate both this, because I guess this is where the conversation came from, this meaning the West Coast IPA, or Pilsners, if you didn't go through that full circle moment type of thing where you came back to where you started? Because we were talking about the new guys, right? The new guys came in the game and went to, if they're in Vermont, you got into craft beer in 2018, you're not going to know about the stuff that we know about. You probably wouldn't have heard of a brown ale. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So it's funny you say brown ale, right? I'll be honest, the beer that got me into craft beer was a brown ale.
Nice. Which one?
It was a Dundee honey brown ale. They don't make it anymore.
Okay.
It's like it was a brewery out of like Rochester, New York.
Okay.
But it was the beer that like I bought it, and I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. And then I slowly opened up to the IPAs and everything else, as all of my friends in college were drinking Natty Light or whatever, or PBR. I mean, PBR is delicious, but Natty Light or anything.
No,
no.
Stop it. You're upsetting me, Terry.
No, one here and there is not bad.
I had a bad experience, but I feel you.
Okay, that's how I. That's how I feel about Red Bull vodkas. It's a bad experience.
Yeah, you have that. It's done.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's done.
We've all had a bad experience with that.
Yeah. No, but brown ales, I agree. You need to have the full spectrum of every style.
Yeah.
You got to try every style, because your palate as an individual, it changes over the years, right?
Absolutely.
You may hate Saison. Like, personally, I dislike Saisons. 10 years down the road, I may love them. Who knows? Levon might like black IPAs tomorrow. We have no idea. But
we can pray.
I think as a beer drinker, right?
Really unlikely, but
yeah, you need to support, your local friends, your local breweries. They may put a beer out that you may not like, but what do you need to do? You need to go out and support them and buy it and try it to see if your local brewer can change your mind on it.
And honestly, so my family owns the other brewery in St. Albans.
Okay.
14 Star up the road.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started out working there when they first opened. It's my mom's side of the family. She's one of 14.
Oh, okay.
Brothers and sisters.
Is she related to? I interviewed
Huge
Andrea.
family. What's that?
I had Andrea on a couple years ago.
Andrea and Steven are. Oh, they're my mom and my dad's nephew and niece and my first cousin. Yeah. So when they first opened up, I worked there all the time. We used to do dishes for them. We used to help them do all kinds of stuff. And honestly, that was really where I first got started in craft brewing. Like, I guess enjoying craft brewing and enjoying drinking craft brewing, because I hadn't done a whole lot. I mean, I'd gone down to Switchback. I'd gone down to Fiddlehead and Zero Gravity, everything down in Burlington, but I wasn't into it until I started working in it.
Yep. So it took that experience working in beer to be exposed to it, and then your palate didn't immediately just go there. You had to work to it.
Experiencing what it takes to actually make a product,
right?
And not just drinking it. We help them do everything. I mean, from start to finish on a product in the kitchen, we help them with everything, and it really opened my eyes to everything that happens inside a brewery and outside the brewery.
Interesting. That's dope. I mean, I like that it took that to explain it to you, but now you have the slow grind as opposed to like you get straight into it, and to actually experience what it's like to work in it and make it and see what goes into it to get that. But yeah, that is something that I think is just unfortunately just missing for a lot of people today. So maybe they're sitting there drinking those pilsners or whatever because the hype breweries are making pilsners. For whatever reason, it seems to have become a product. You know, any brewery that's known for haze type of thing always tends to have a pilsner. Don't really know where that started, whatever. But so I wonder how many people who are drinking those things really appreciate it in a way that, if you've been doing this for a while and you've kind of gone that full circle and you come back to it, that you get into it. So I totally respect that. An interesting point you made about the Saison, though. Like, we're here in Quebec. Quebec is like the home of farmhouse because we're a big Belgian influence. I hated Quebec beer for years. I've lived in Montreal since 2012. So 9 years coming up this summer. And I couldn't stand it, bro. Like, I was going to Toronto all the time just bringing back beer from there. And eventually, do you know what got me onto it? Hill Farmstead. To be honest. Like, once you try like Anne or Dorothy or any of those, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is some other shit. And then you start to have these other more elevated Saisons. The regular ass Saison that tastes like bubblegum and cloves can fuck right off. I don't want any of that business. But these like more delicate things, they are just glorious. It's a whole other thing. And I'm a bit of a, it's still not my thing. But man, I feel like there's got to be something. Like, I don't like barley wines really. I don't like Rouse beers really, but
barley wine is life.
Everyone, BAL. Everyone always says that, and I'm willing to be convinced. I'm completely willing. It's just hasn't happened yet, but I feel like that if I kind of found that lagers and stuff were boring, but then now we come to this point, and that's all I want. I feel like it's like an interesting point for consumers to be at, because if it's happening with us. I'm on the adjacent. I'm adjacent to the industry. You boys are deep in the industry, but for the folks who pay a lot of attention to beer, to be into all of that, it's going to be interesting to see if that's going to continue and spread out. And wonder if other styles. And we would make kind of joking a little bit about brown ale. I used to love brown ales back in the day too. What if will brown ales make the same level of a comeback as West Coast, as Crispies? Like. It's interesting. Do you guys do a brown ale?
We not yet.
Brown it up.
So we earlier. I mean, I forgot to hit on this. Right, we talked about earlier about maple beer.
Yes.
And how we have the maple porter. I do want to eventually do a maple brown ale.
Love it. Never heard of one. That's a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, that's on my list. That's in a notebook somewhere. I've got like a list of like styles or at least beers that I want to hit or something, or at least attempt on a trial batch system, right? Again, yeah, brown ale, you don't see many. I would buy them every day of the week though, if I had the choice.
I do love brown ales.
Yep.
Yeah, they go high. Maybe it needs, being that you guys are the ones who can somewhat dictate what's out there because you're making the beer. Just like my theory is that every time I spoke to brewers, they were always like, oh, well, okay, you finish a hard shift, it's sweaty in there, you're lifting heavy things, and the last thing you want is an 8% double IPA. You want to come out of the brewery, you want a 4.8%, lager.
Pound the lager.
Pound that, right?
Yep.
So what, why can't, and I feel like because of that, brewers kept making lagers to the point where it became, it has to have played a part of it, I think. So can you, if enough, burping like a motherfucker, if enough brewers wanted to do brown ales and maybe coordinated something like that, or whatever random sort of style that would be coming back next, I wonder if it could be, it could be a thing. I don't know. Like, they're not cool in the way that everything else is, New England IPAs that look sexy and like fruited stuff is bright and colorful and fruity and sweet and shit. Like I wonder how you get this little like standard British looking brown ale thing to be cool. I don't know. It's possible. Huh?
It's all about presentation. Find the right glass, right?
Ooh.
Put it in the right glass. But no, I agree.
Glass ass or glass?
Glass. No, yeah. No, but it's interesting. We the Vermont brewers, we have a good community. So we do chat a lot about things here and it's only going to take one person. We're a small community too as well, right? So it's only going to take one brewer to put out a badass brown ale before everybody else copies it, or at least makes an attempt. So maybe Mill River puts out the badass brown ale. That'd be nice.
I'm here for it. Is that an episode name? Badass Brown Ale?
It could be. Could be a beer name for all we know too. I don't know.
Ooh, think about that. Could be a thing. Could change the game, boys. Brown ales. Brown ales. That's a new one. I love it. The joke we always joke about here is in Quebec they have a thing called a Rousse, which is like a red ale, really. But it's a red ale mixed with a cream ale. I'm not really sure how it's mixed with a cream ale, but I always joke about team Rousse, like because it's the most boringest style we can think of. It's like the thing
red ale and a cream ale, huh?
Yeah, which is I don't know which part of it is incorporated in it because it just kind of looks like any standard red ale, but it couldn't be more yawn. It's boring as fuck. I think it's hilarious.
I mean, a cream ale is boring, and then you just
mix it with a red ale. You made a bit darker.
You just make it red,
and then that's pretty boring.
You're making it dark amber.
I feel like
hold on. A cream ale can be boring if you have it with lemon and black tea and make it like an alcoholic Arnold Palmer. Then it's delicious.
Okay. Yeah. So that you can.
That was one of our Keg Infusions. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I feel like the brown ale could come back. I feel like if anyone can do it, you guys can do it. You guys can make the brown ale happen. Yep. I want to see it. I like it because it's just, why not? Why not? They're actually great.
Exactly.
Nice little nutty, malty, caramelly like brown ale that's like 5-6%, just tons of flavor. Shit, I couldn't even tell you the last time I had a brown ale. But when I have had a fire brown ale, I've been like, God damn, that was good. And there have been, I can think of 2 in the last 5 years that I've had. And I've been like, whoa, that was amazing. Which is a weird thing to say about a brown ale.
14 Star had a really good brown ale and they stopped making it.
You messed up. You better get him. We'll get your cousin on the phone, bro. Sort it out.
I don't know. Tell them to stop.
Or, no, you know what? No, fuck that. You just do it. It's on you. You get the brown ale now.
Oh, yeah. I'm over it.
That was awesome, boys. Basically, did we cover everything? I think we got it all in.
Yeah.
I feel like we got everything.
I think we did.
Yeah, it was good. We went through the beers. We got the histories. This is great, man. I really appreciate your time. It's been great to meet you, Terry, and catch up, Levon, because it's been a couple of years, and just to hear, see where. The thumbnail. Tiffany's reminding me. I have to take a screenshot of the thumbnail. So hold up a couple cans or something. See, this is why I can't do this all by myself.
I can't go for it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, you want to show your pretty face, don't you?
Do I? I don't know. I don't.
Oh, of course you do. There you go. Look, so I go like this. There we go. All good with both hands. Ready? Oh, that is stunning. Oh, that is gorgeous. I'm putting down the Christmas card. No, it's been really awesome, boys. Thank you so much for your time and for it's great to try the new beers and see where things are at and hear how things have changed and stuff. It's great. I can't wait to get back. I don't know when on earth the border is going to open. Yeah, I mean, hopefully soon, and hopefully there's not too many diseased Quebec people, because you guys did pretty well and we did not do pretty well. So I would be almost in the immediate proximity more concerned for you guys than for us, because I know you guys did pretty bad overall, but Vermont didn't do bad. The country didn't do great. But you did a lot better than Quebec.
Our whole restaurant and our whole staff, the brewery, everybody's vaccinated. So when you can come down, come down.
Yeah, man. I'm counting the days, goddammit. No, seriously, appreciate you guys both. Where can everybody find the Mill River online? Or is that a Madison question?
That's a Madison question, but ready? What is it? Hold on. I'll pull it up on the internet real quick.
There you go. That's even better.
I've got 2 monitors.
Oh, that's perfect. I got it. So, I think it's Mill River Brew, isn't it, on Instagram?
It's millriverbrewing.com.
Brewing.com.
Yep. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, I believe, right? I'm not on Facebook, so I believe we're on Facebook.
You are, yep.
Instagram.
Untapped. Yep. Untapped as well.
Everything's there.
Yep, everything's there. Our website, we try to keep it updated with our draft list. And we also have like a mailing list that Madison puts out a weekly newsletter. So if you want to get on the weekly newsletter, you can sign up for it, I believe, on the website, or, info@millriverbrewing.com. Madison, I believe Madison or Levon's mom, Joyce, takes care of that, but they definitely can get you on the mailing list and just kind of keep your eyes out for us, because we're going to be putting out some more new beer that you're not used to, at least in the St. Albans area.
Brown ales. I love it.
Brown ales and black IPAs.
Ooh. That's all you guys are going to do.
Maybe a black lager.
Maybe.
Ooh, and a Schwartz beer and a Rausch beer. We're good.
It's a done deal. St. Albans killing it. This is awesome. I'm going to wrap this up. Stick around the end of the call and we can say pieces before we wrap up the live. So everybody, thank you for watching and listening. If you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up. Hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell so you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media everywhere at BAOS Podcast, and check out the long form audio so you can hear attractive gentlemen in Vermont like Levon and Terry. We are back tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you guys then. Peace.